with, even though it's not coming through scent. There's just this little subtle whisper of someone or something new. She's on my left side, and I hear the name Agatha psychically. And I'm shown this like almost like an old fresco image of something that's very dated from an older time in the world. And she's brushing my hair and just nurturing me and holding my hand. And I'm like, wow, what is this? And I'm like, Saint Agatha, is there a Saint Agatha? I know nothing about Catholic saints, by the way. I wasn't, you know. Anyway, point being, she's been around. She was around this morning and last night with messages. But I think I want to say here that because Mary, Jesus, Joan of Arc, and now Saint Agatha have been with me, they're not part of a tradition I really am I was raised in the church, but I also know the dark side of the Christian church in very intimate ways, very, very icky ways, if you will. Kind of turned me off to Christianity. So again, the point being that if my mind wasn't open to receive something other than what I expected, I would have missed all that tenderness, all that love, all that potency, the empowerment of the feminine. Agatha she was a Catholic martyr in the end. I mean, she was killed because she wouldn't denounce Christianity and the teachings of Christ. She's also here to bring us back to the Christ of light. But I would have missed so much if I wasn't paying attention to subtlety, listening inwardly, listening, and just kind of trusting the situation, trusting the energy I was feeling, and turning toward it rather than away from it. So sometimes on the path of becoming more aware of external form and energy, we will be tasked over and over with, is this something I can accept, or will it cause me cognitive dissonance? That could be said, even better example would be with reptilian energies. So as soon as you whiff a reptilian, you're probably going to slam the door. That's probably smart. But there are so many reptiles who are benevolent, loving, and here to help us. The first thing that comes to mind, here we go, Donna, this is for you, like the dragons. So we're always tasked with like moving beyond our the mind that wants to put something in a box, label it, and put it on the good or bad shelf. So that's kind of working with discernment and also subtle energy, subtle perception, and a huge piece of self-trust. So I hope that's maybe lands somewhere as an instructive lesson. Yeah. Yeah, it was for me. Totally unexpected too. And those are the things I really trust. When something's coming in out of nowhere, I'm not asking for anything. I wasn't expecting anything, and there's something new happening. So yeah. The other thing about asking, yesterday morning, I lost my little EMF protection blue shield thing. And so what I do, okay, I'm looking all over the place. It's always with me. Sit down on the bed. Okay, where is it? Where is it? And I hear a voice. This is all going on in like 20 seconds. It's in your pocket. Higher self comes in and says, oh, and I put my hand in my pocket. Oh, right, you are. So there's a point of, even though I'm saying with Agatha, Saint Agatha, I wasn't asking for that. And that can be good, but sometimes we have to sit ourselves down and ask for an answer and believe that we can receive it and it will come. So yeah, I think, both those sides of the coin, where you get very intentional about what we need and put ourselves in a position where we can really receive it. And that was, again, super simple. I lost my car keys. Where are they? I lost my glasses. Where are they? On your face. Yeah. So yeah. There's always little object lessons in my world, like pretty consistently. But going back into this piece about our the exploration of our calling, our purpose. I do a lot of Akashic readings, and one of the biggest things people ask about if they're seeing me for the first time is, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? Yeah, and I think for all of you here, you've had to do a lot of searching as you began the whole awakening journey, realizing that things were not necessarily just as they seemed on the outset, or as we've been schooled, that there was a lot more going on and a lot more to us, multidimensional creatures that we are, And we had to do a lot of soul searching, every one of us. How many of us on this call? There's 25 people in this class altogether. We've all had to make tremendous journeys to get to this point. So I'm wondering if anybody had anything pop up that they wanted to share about maybe a moment along the lines, Torben, beautiful share. Anything that may have changed your or accelerated or changed the face of your reality. Some of that stuff I know can be intimate and private. Maybe you don't want to share, but anybody who does, I just welcome you to talk about that if you feel to. Doug, hello. Yeah, unmute, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Okay, I need to move up to the webcam.
Mhm.
I guess there were several things in my life. I think when I was young in my backyard, I was, walking. I just was hit with the realization that I'm connected to something, and then I start going around the yard, saying, looking around. I said, "This world is fake," and I just kept saying, "I'm connected to something." But then after that, put it back in, back in my mind, and then I move into the more into the future. Like around 1980. This was a very big event to me because I was like maybe you and a lot of other people. I was around Christianity at the time. I was going to a group like a charismatic type group, Roman Catholics.
Yeah.
And I had, but anyway, uh, I went to a concert. I think it was called Second Chapter of Acts or something, some kind of band. But there I was getting like they were giving me a message and stuff, and there was like a lot of paranormal activity going around me. But I sensed something like a light was. But then I went back home and because I got laid off from my job, I was up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I worked for a
Yeah.
company called Collins Radio. It was associated with Rockwell International. I was like
Mm,
a test technician. But anyway,
mhm.
I was at a crossroads in my life, and I was getting because I had this tendency to hear voices. Some people would probably not be able to handle it. And they would call you, you go over the edge and call you, schizophrenic because my brother had that issue. Uh, but anyway, anyway, I was hearing all these taunting voices kind of putting me down because I got laid off and it was kind of like maybe the end of the world for me or something. I said, well, and at first I kind of maybe, yelled at him, that, just leave me alone, just quit. Because I kept hearing all these voices. They just putting me down. And so I came to that moment in my life. I just stopped. I was just pausing, what's next? And then I realized what I needed to do. I spoke my truth to these voices. And I, and
Mm,
I, I basically said, even though I was referring to the creator or the creator that did not require any kind of religion, he did, the true creator and not all these, like the Christian God and stuff like that. But I believe there was a creator, that did, was, was so pure, it didn't require us to have a religion around, it just accepted us for who we are because we're an extension of it or an expression. But anyway, I basically said this. I said, God does not judge us by what we wear. Because I was trying to get back, because I was an introvert, kind of felt lonely and all this stuff. I said, God
mhm. Yeah.
does not judge us by what we wear. He judges our heart. I know this is a very important thing to you, the heart. Uh, and as I repeated that, a massive shift, happened in my life. And, the voices were silenced. And I found myself, because I was never the type of, like in churches, how people praising God and all this. I, you
Yeah.
know, I wasn't, but it was just like I could, I did it. I praised this creator, in the way I said it in my language. I said,
Mm,
praise God with so much feeling, and I felt tremendous peace and
mhm.
and a kind of a divine presence. It just totally changed.
Oh, yeah. It feels, is this, so as I'm listening to you, it feels like you had the inner capacity, the inner resource to kind of say no to the voices that were, dragging you down, these denser energies. And through this whole episode, the higher, I don't know, more Christed energies, or, you know, the universe coming through you. Is that correct?
Yeah, that I was never. I was like, because I told my friend, he was a a Christian leader of the group I was going to, and he was
Mm,
listening to everything, and he said, yeah, you really, he could tell I there's something about me that changed,
hmm
and because I was feeling it, and because before that I just felt down on myself and
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
fears of failure, because that was told to me by my dad when he was telling me what the doctors, because I've been to like to the child guidance centers and all this stuff, so I had my education kind of retarded, and he was
Mm,
telling doctors were saying that your average intelligence and you have this fear of failure. My dad said, well, he didn't believe that. He thought I was a lot more, smarter than he is, because at one time he belonged to the Kentucky Mensa group, where,
mm,
but he was always talking to me, getting my advice, on certain things. So we were a collaboration, because we
mm.
very technical stuff, because he had a business and stuff. But anyway,
Yeah,
that was a massive shift at that point in life. But then I guess that propelled me to begin to find out, as in relation to Christianity, I began to move, like you're saying, I began to move away from that and
yeah.
down the research path. First I went down the Reformation. I was trying to find out what Christian, what is this with Christianity? What's the secret behind it? But because I found out, so I moved ahead and doing research, went into the occult side of things, trying to, to be
Mhm.
like maybe the mystery schools and all this stuff. And then I was, connecting to, I connected to all these different, like Argonite, a lot of people are doing gifting, if you ever heard of that.
Mm.
And then I was talking to, Stuart Swerdlow, looking at his information.
Oh, Swirlo, yeah. So this feels like a jumping off point for you for a lot of, getting into the Montauk information and all these things. So yeah, thank you.
I've actually talked to the guy, and I have a recording of that discussion. But anyway, I had a reading done by him. They have this service like off world. And so this, in the future, I reached out to, psychic LJ, and she said,
Yeah. So I know one thing kind of led to another for you, but the pivot point is how, can you tell me how old you were when you had that whole experience that you first relayed? Were you 20?
uh, oh my, let me see. I'm born in 1957, so it was in 19, around between 79 and 80. And
Hmm.
see, so if you can
Yeah.
count in your
So
head,
yeah, really a pivotal moment for you, and look where it's led. So there's been a lot that's unfolded for you over time. I can really feel that. Yeah.
like it, and other people trying to connect more dots. I mean, that's the thing with me. But anyway, other than that, I've been I've been talking to, I didn't see Rochelle in our
Hmm.
group,
Yeah.
and she's been talking to me, and we've been, like, we're kind of kindred souls on my Discord, because I set up a Discord server
Yeah. Yeah.
group, but nobody, I sent out some invites, but I guess nobody. But anyway, I also added, uh, excuse me, Chat GPT on my server. It's kind of more focused towards
Mhm.
positive
Okay.
vibe, and to people. But anyway, I was using it. It's a tool to test, my.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing about that initial experience, though. Really, I feel like how that was so pivotal for getting you on a different track, and I think that's really relatable, and or allowing you to explore what you came here to explore. Yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Doug. And too, what I would want to say is that the life calling, or the sometimes it's such a, when we say mission, like it's such a big statement, right? Like mission. It can be so quiet in a way. It can be subtle. It's not always fireworks and lights in the sky, but it's something that inside you sets your heart on fire, sets your spirit, like lights it up.